Some place in the populous focus of Korea, a huge structure is consuming on fire while a fireman named Kim Jong-hong leaps out from the structure, attempting to save a regular citizen's life. His rope is scorched by the furious intensity, making him fall onto the ground. Without arriving on the security pad, his whole life flies away with a sense of finality. However, shockingly, the man can awaken later, saving the young lady from being killed. He gets up and surges towards the young lady's family, attempting to check whether the casualty is harmed. Yet at the same, no matter how hard he talks, nobody is by all accounts answering. Out of nowhere he hears a voice calling out to him from a far distance, and sees two individuals in suits grinning towards him in the midst of the disorder. Kim Hong takes a stab at advising them to move back from the falling flotsam and jetsam. However, before long notification, the fireman attempting to save a man who closely resembles himself. The lady named Deak Chun lets Kim Jong-hong know that he's Paragon before he kicked the bucket, and they are here to help him through the 7 preliminaries of decisions. The other gatekeeper called Haiwan lets him know that their chief is hanging tight for them before the entryways towards the preliminaries, and they need to go there at the present moment. Kim Hong experiences difficulty taking this data in, and gradually leaves while checking out his companions grieving not without a fight. He shouts that he can't bite the dust right now as he needs to see his mom. Yet entirely demands the body suspending in the air towards the giant entrance. The fact that he makes Hong continues yelling about seeing his mom, while the gatekeeper is contacted so mindful towards his folks even in the afterlife. They show up in various aspects where a large number of individuals are going towards the doors of judgment. Also, Kim Jong-hong meets the gatekeeper chief called Kang Rim, who's assisted 47 spirits with resurrecting in the previous 100 years. At the point when the pioneer compliments Kim Hong for being a paragon, the man turns away and declines, expressing that he's not a decent individual by any means. They enter the doors of judgment, yet are magically transported to a horrendous spot loaded with magma called the Mountain of Murder. Haiwan is stunned to see their area and questions Kim Jong-hong, assuming he's killed somebody in his life, yet the man denies having at any point accomplished something so awful. Kang Rim makes sense of that, causing somebody's passing in a roundabout way through an action is likewise judged by the preliminaries, which might be the explanation that they're here. Kim Jong-hong shows up on an arena where huge entryways on the ground opens up, uncovering a giant pit loaded up with magma. Individuals who are rebuffed attempt frantically to move out. However, they persistently consume inside the ocean of blazes. The investigators start the preliminary by blaming Kim Jong-hong for not saving one of his associates when he got the opportunity to do as such, which prompted the man's demise. They request that Kim Jong-hong languishes inside the magma pit over 5 years, to make up the transgression of not saving his companion. Kang Rim safeguards the man by mentioning a nearer assessment on what truly occurred at the occurrence. Obviously, Kim Hong attempted to frantically save his companion at the scene. However, they proved unable to move the stone that the fireman was caught under. Subsequent to understanding the sad circumstance, his associate advised him to leave and save the other regular folks. All things considered, due to Kim's choice, he had the option to save 8 individuals that evening. Kang Rim contends that the man's gallantry ought to be thought about while passing judgment on his choice to abandon his companion. Seeing the man's fortitude at helping other people, the appointed authority chooses to excuse him from the charges and permit him to give the following preliminary. In spite of the fact that Kim Hong has won the primary hearing, he's significantly impacted by the sign of his partner's passing. He requests to know why the watchmen are helping him, as he doesn't trust himself to be a paragon. It just so happens, the watchmen have their own plans, as they made an arrangement with the Lord of Agony, who's called Yomra, on the off chance that the 3 can assist 49 dead spirits with going through the preliminaries and resurrect inside in 100 years. They can become people also. They show up at the preliminary of inactivity, where Deak Chun makes sense of the multitude of works that Kim Hong has finished. Kim Hong has never been sluggish all through his life, and consistently helped other people regardless of where he went. This even method, thumping over a colonies of bees and exposing his entire group to horrible stings? Or on the other hand, saving some grouchy feline on the edge of a structure and breaking the proprietor's Lamborghini with his head. The appointed authority was so moved by Kim Hong's commitments that she arranges the examiners to right away fabricate a sculpture to pay tribute to the paragon. Nonetheless, when she asks about why the man needed to carry on with his life so completely, Kim Hong answered that the explanation was basically for cash. After hearing the man's response, the appointed authority rapidly changes her decision and tells the investigators to send Kim Hong into the discipline, where a giant machine pursues everyone individuals at real fault for slothfulness, pounding their bones and taking care of them for the fishes. The watchmen make an honest effort to help their litigant, and asks the goddess to look nearer at the man's life. Kim Hong endeavored to bring in cash was on the grounds that he needed to help his mom who was wiped out and his sibling who needed to go to graduate school. Kim Hong worked such a lot of that he frequently ignored his own well-being, and his craving for cash is in this way not because of childishness. In the wake of understanding the man's actual inspirations, the goddess views that Kim Hong isn't entirely liable as he simply needed to help his loved ones. The gathering sheets the boat that will take them to the following area. Yet previously they can celebrate. They notice that they are being sought after by various beasts. The group releases their weapons and makes an honest effort to safeguard against the animals. They're ready to overcome a large number of the foes by cutting them into pieces. However, the skipper gets pushed over the boat and scarcely holds tight. Haiwan is compelled to protect the boat without anyone else while allowing his chief the opportunity to recuperate. Haiwan strikes a huge stone point of support that makes the stones fall, saving them from the beast's interest. The man makes sense of that this can happen on the grounds that a group of Kim Hong has passed on and became a vindictive soul. To prevent different beasts from chasing after them later on, Kang Rim chooses to visit Kim Hong's family to figure out reality with regards to what occurred. He goes to Kim Hong's occupant and notification that the mother is plainly alive. This implied that it was the sibling Su Hong who kicked the bucket and transformed into a vindictive soul. The shrewd quality attempts to take off while Kang Rim pursues behind. Kang Rim attempts to stop the soul by finding it utilizing his weapon. However, the apparition figures out how to keep away from the assaults. The two conflicts together and thumps the gatekeeper away, permitting the soul to vanish. As Kang Rim searches for his prey, the gatekeeper follows the path to an army installation, where he saw the fighter talking about Su Hong and alluding to him as a weakling. What's much more inquisitive is that the commander and one of his kindred fighters is plainly concealing something. Kang Rim masks as a colonel of the military and continues to scrutinize the commander about Su Hong, blaming him for killing the man. The commander starts extorting the watchman out of dread, which further affirms that he's liable for the siblings' passing. Kim Hong is being addressed by the goddess of double dealing, and blamed for composing various misleading wills and confirmations for his partner, which he neglected to save before. He gave these compositions to the man's little girl, deceiving her by professing to be the young lady's father. The goddess quickly arranges the man to be restricted and plans to rebuff him by cutting off his tongue. Fortunately, Kang Rim can interface with his group through clairvoyance and contends for Kim Hong's activities. Incidentally, he likewise composed misleading letters to his mom, lying about how incredible his life is and the way that rich he became. Kang Rim contends that these are endeavors to comfort individuals that he thinks often about, by giving them trust that reality can't offer, and permitting them to live on. After understanding that Kim Hong did this to give others motivation to live on, the divinity pardons the man's wrongdoings as the expectations were never to hurt. After the trial, Kang Rim deceives Kim Hong and lets him know that his families are doing fine, yet rapidly illuminates the group about reality with respect to Kim Hong's sibling. Kang Rim travels once again into the past to see what truly occurred on the eve of night Su Hong's demise, and understands that his companion were youthful shot Su Hong coincidentally in the wake of turning off the well-being. Were youthful summoned their skipper right, and on second thought of attempting to save the perishing man, the warrior chooses to cover Su Hong and conceal the proof so his advancement wouldn't be ruined. Kang Rim is looking collection of Su Hong and understands that the man was not dead. This driving him recall the recollections from his past where his dad was likewise covered alive. Simultaneously, Kim Hong has shown up in the hell of injustice, where individuals are frozen for quite a long time to pay for their wrongdoing of not helping other people. Fortunately, Kim Hong's calling as a fireman implies that he'll not be decided here. However, all things being equal, be permitted to continue on toward the following area. During the ride inside the streetcar, it's uncovered that the watchmen all have their recollections eradicated with the exception of their chief Kang Rim. Haiwan attempts to prevent his partner from uncovering any longer about their constraints, yet incidentally illuminates Kim Hong that his sibling is truth be told the vindictive soul. After understanding reality, the man's unsteady mind shakes the whole domain and breaks the trolley, almost dropping his gatekeepers beneath. Be that as it may, Kim Hong can get a hold of himself in the latest possible second, and offers to help his colleagues. The three shows up in the damnation of treachery, where a lovely goddess judges individuals who sold out their friends and family by catching them in a mirror and breaking the casualties. Luckily, Kim Hong was a paragon in the course of his life and didn't sell out anybody, permitting him to continue on securely from this area too. At a similar time, Kang Rim can find the vindictive soul in a club where he's attempting to kill one of the fighters who covered him alive. The watchman pursues Su Hong immediately, and they battle ceaselessly in the air while flying through the city. Kang Rim can catch the soul by laying out a snare and tying him onto the structure utilizing a supernatural rope. The watchman lets the soul know that he really wants to pardon his executioners to be reawakened, or probably he'll be obliterated for eternity. Yet, this simply reminded Su Hong about how he was covered alive and sold out by his best companions, making him shout in fury and break free by making an enormous shockwave. On the opposite side, in the wake of drinking various measures of liquor, where Youthful has chosen to give the area of the body to Su Hong's mom, incapable to hold on for the responsibility any longer, the lady open the guide lastly sees the area of his most youthful child, while Su Hong observes everything from behind his mom. The vindictive soul goes to Kang Rim and lets the watchman know that he has chosen to pardon. were youthful, subsequent to seeing the fighter's responsibility and how the area of the body was given to the mother. Su Hong asks the gatekeeper to carry on like a medium with the goal that he might converse with Were youthful once and for all, promising that he'll go through the preliminaries a short time later. The soul talks through the man and lets the trooper know that he pardons him, and to not squander any longer new tears on something from an earlier time. Meanwhile, Kim Hong has arrived at the damnation of viciousness and sees a giant opening in which they should hop into to arrive at the preliminaries. The man falls into the huge opening and collides with a monster rock, yet Haiwan is capable to get his colleague and land close to Kim Hong. However, Kim Hong slides towards the two and pushes them over coincidentally, making them free fall indeed towards the lower part of the pit. Haiwan surges towards the two while Hong can get the young lady and attempts to save her from the accident very much like before he kicked the bucket. Shockingly, yet he is halted without a second to spare subsequent to arriving at the base. The preliminary of viciousness starts and the examiners blame Kim Hong for thumping his sibling in high school. This activity was particularly inexcusable as the young man was experiencing ailing health because of how poor the family was at that point. Truth be told, Kim Hong never searched out absolution after the battle, as he took off from his family for the following day, and never returned home from that point onward. The adjudicator concludes that the man is at real fault for viciousness towards his own loved ones. Furthermore, plans to send him into a pit where individuals are continually hit by rocks as discipline. Seeing that Kim Hong is going to be condemned, Diak Chun requests the appointed authority to hold off the conviction, and take a gander at the last preliminary along with the ongoing one, as they are firmly related. This play is extremely dangerous as it requires the gatekeepers to relinquish their powers in life following death, assuming that Kim Hong was viewed as blameworthy on the following preliminary. Tragically, the gatekeepers get familiar with reality with regards to what occurred on that evening of the battle. Su Hong awakens subsequent to seeing his sibling stooping before their mother, and requests to know what Kim Hong was doing, yet before long figures out that the kid was attempting to kill his own mom utilizing a pillow. Su Hong attempted to stop his sibling, which made Kim Hong drop the pillow. Furthermore, start punching the young man persistently with outrage. It would seem Kim Hong felt exceptionally sad at that a great time as their family was so poor and his mom was seriously sick. The main way he accepted that can end their enduring was through death, and that's it. For this reason he felt incredibly remorseful a short time later and took off from home, staying away forever to his family at any point down the road. Subsequent to hearing this, the gatekeepers become miserable as they understand that it is absolutely impossible that they can win the preliminaries now, particularly in the last damnation of obedient irreverence. Simultaneously, Kang Rim is attempting to bring Su Hong towards his body with the goal that the soul would be able to start the excursion towards rebirth too. At the point when they show up at the tactical camp, Su Hong is shocked to see that his mom is here, asking the warriors to carry her to her child's body. The captain of the military sees this and surges towards the lady, tearing her signs into pieces and pushing her onto the ground, making her weak in the effort. Su Hong sees that his mom is being gone after by his executioner and becomes overwhelmed in rage, transforming into the vindictive soul that he was previously. He breaks liberated from the restrictions and takes hold of the gatekeeper, discarding the man utilizing gigantic power. Su Hong's rage turns out to be extreme to the point that he transforms into a cyclone, overwhelming every one of the fighters nearby and opening an entryway towards the actual hereafter. The vindictive soul throws everything around and making monstrous tumult, while Kang Rim attempts frantically to save everyone individuals from being killed. Fortunately, Haiwan can surge into the living scene through the entry and dispatches at Su Hong, splitting away the sculpture and dazzling the foe. Kang Rim takes the risk and charges in too, catching Su utilizing a mystical rope, lastly ending the frenzy. In the meantime, the preliminary of Kim Hong starts at the opposite end as Lord Yomra himself chooses to be the adjudicator for the case. The divinity accuses the man of endeavoring to kill his own mom and beating his sibling in such a frantic time. The Lord likewise uncovers that Kim Hong's mom really realized about her child's endeavor killer, be that as it may, stayed quiet and kept this misfortune inside her heart, which makes the man's wrongdoing far and away more terrible. The divinity presumes that Kim Hong will be rebuffed always in this heck, as he attempted to commit the most terrible thing conceivable of killing the person who gave him life. Out of nowhere, the whole domain starts shaking as a voice starts addressing Kim Hong's mom. It just so happens, Kang Rim has utilized his ability to permit Su Hong to address his mom in a fantasy. Furthermore, the child apologizes for his sibling. Su Hong let his mother know that Kim Hong has worked relentless for quite some time to help them of all time since that evening. In the wake of feeling regretful for what he did, shockingly, the mother uncovers that she has excused her child quite a while in the past, and apologizes herself for not having the option to accommodate her kids. Kim Hong hears this and falls into tears, while the Lord himself has been moved by their showcase of family. The god concludes that he can never again charge Kim Hong for his violations, as the casualty has excused him quite some time ago, consequently permitting the man to be resurrected. Kim Hong hears this and bows towards Diak Chun, saying thanks to the gatekeepers for aiding him through the venture. Prior to vanishing into the brilliant lights, back in the human domain, Kang Rim has chosen to bring Su Hong as their 49th resurrection, intending to accomplish their arrangement for the ruler so they can be renewed too. The gathering shows up inside the damnation of obedient scandalousness before various evil spirits, and charges towards the foes to open a way to the ruler of misery himself. The end. If you like this story, please subscribe to the channel and like it to motivate me to bring you more stories like this.